Hi everyone. I love the show. So good.
Good start.
Great.
It's really good. The opening, I spoke to the other guys about this too, but the opening scene features a corpse with an erection, which I can't say I've ever seen before, obviously. But it really, as an opening scene, it really does grab a viewer. This is going to happen. You think, okay, this show is different. I've not seen something like this. I just wondered if there was a similar experience, like reading the script. When you open it up and on page one you see that, does it make you go, okay, this is something I can carry on reading?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well,
For all those reasons.
I would say that Anne-Marie did it even better than I thought. You know, when I wrote it, I felt like it would be a good thing to set the tone. You know, there's something really deathly miserable about a corpse, obviously, but then immediately, you know, giving it, an erection sort of told you what the show was. But she was so funny, and I loved it for so many reasons, but particularly seeing Anne-Marie, who's, you know, such a, you know, known more for drama, seeing her be so farcy around what she should use to cover it. I just loved it. I felt like at that moment, you know, people would know that the show would have surprises in it. Just seeing Anne-Marie do that, you know.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah, because Sharon, I was going to ask, I mean, it's obviously an interesting study. I know, despite the irreverence of it in parts, it is a study of one's morality. So when you write a show like this, how tricky is that balance and ensuring that the audience remains on the sisters' side? Because when you're dealing with characters who do bad things, is it a bit of a puzzle to find that right tone that allows us to still root for them?
Oh yeah, it's a real puzzle, and you know, you're kind of figuring it out all the way along, and in actual fact, you have to figure it out a bit more in the edit because it doesn't always, and it's even in the music that you choose, and you know how you score it, and at what point you cut to someone, you know, giving the eye to someone in a very serious scene. You know, you kind of build it as you go, but you know, it's. Yeah, it's the trickiest thing about writing something like this is the tone, because you don't want to make light of you know, the abusive relationship at the heart of it, and you do want an audience to stick with those sisters throughout the 10 episodes. But I don't know how much you've seen, it gets worse. His behavior gets so progressively bad that's the thing that keeps you rooting for the sisters, you know, because by the end you're like, you want to get into the TV and kill him yourself. So it kind of his actions get progressively worse, and that's what allows you to stay with the sisters, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember having such a visceral reaction to a character as I do with him for so long. Like you said, I wanted to break into the screen and just slap him around the face. On set for all of you in scenes with that character, because who is such an insufferable arsehole, is there almost an element of restraint required, not just to shout shut up even when it's not even in the script?
Yeah, I mean, I think in most scenes before we were rehearsing, or like as we were rehearsing, we would get that out of our system. It's like, he's such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, so that we could
Claes
then...
would as well. After you take Claes, we go, oh God, I'm awful, aren't I? You're such an awful prick. And, you know, so there was...
And he would say to me, could you do anything worse to me now? Even when, like, there's a scene where he gets beaten up, but he's beaten up in the men's toilet, so he falls into a urinal. So he gets an imprint of a wet toilet on the back of his trousers, and all along the way he's punished. Like, I punish him. All the writers punished him for being such a prick. You know, he was never allowed just be evil. Mm-hmm. You had to sort of humiliate him as well. So I think it works for the character, because while you hate him, you also get to laugh at him, because he's such a dick as well as a prick.
Is that cathartic to be able to write so many nasty things to happen to someone? Because it's almost like, I guess, you know, I said I wanted to jump out the TV. You had the power to create his misery.
It got more fun as it went on, you know. It became cathartic.
Did he? Because I've interviewed him a few times, Claes, and he is a really likable, friendly guy. But I'm just wondering, did he keep a distance outside of those scenes? Because I know in many projects, the director will shout cut and everyone just switches off and they start chatting and laughing again. But sometimes there are some actors, when playing an antagonist, they like to be a bit more method, maybe maintain that distance.
No,
he was always in the tent with us and chatting and
It was a really lovely, like the whole cast, not just the 5 sisters, but we had a lovely extended cast. And that was one of the really enjoyable things of going to work, and just everybody hung out together and got to know each other. It was very, a sort of collaborative thing.
Yeah,
in that sense, it was really
he would do the scene, and then he would immediately just complain about how awful I made the prick. So, but in a fun way. I think he really enjoyed it. It was he just couldn't quite believe how awful he was. Every scene he did, he couldn't believe how awful he was. There's some later scenes that are a bit of a different kettle of fish, and there was definitely space needed sort of around him to do. But you'll get to those and understand why. And
do any of you have sort of sisters, and did you draw on that sibling bond to help craft your performances?
We've all got sisters. Yeah. So I think
except Anne-Marie, she's a brother.
She's a brother.
But the rest of us all, it's quite easy to tap into. My mom comes from a family of 5 girls as well. 6 girls, sorry. She's one of 5. She has 5 sisters, sorry. So I grew up around those dynamics, and house full of women and big loud personalities, and very cork, very shrill.
It's my mum as well had 2 sisters, and I have 2 sisters, and I come from a family of 5, so I'm used to a very loud sort of bawdy table, and an instant party, which I hope you can see after the funeral, when I hope you can sort of see that sort of what it feels like to be in a big family. It's so specific how you kind of take the party with you, unless you're a prick, and then you kind of.
I was wondering, because I love how all the sisters on Christmas morning will all go for that sort of swim. I wondered if any of you guys have any sort of Christmas family traditions that you do every year.
I used to do a run with my brothers.
Did you?
Yeah, that was
not anymore.
No, which is weird because I'm not sort of boozing at the moment, whereas I would run on this disgusting hangover where I would just want to vomit the whole way around, but it was like this charity run. It was only a mile. You're just absolutely destroyed. But we do that on Christmas morning.
We don't really have any. Well, there's very much sort of set things we do, at certain times throughout the day. In the morning we do the presents, half of the presents, the Santa presents.
That's it, us too.
Did you?
Santa presents
in the morning, and then food, and then other presents in the evening.
Later,
my mum every year says, now this year we're going to play games. We're not watching telly, we're going to play games. It could do us.
Yeah. But occasionally, when you did do the games,
they were the best ones.
Watching your mum play Jenga is just like one of the greatest joys. Would you do like a little speech or like,
Would we? No, we would spend all Christmas morning visiting my dad's family. We still do. So each one of the siblings now takes it in their house.
Oh, that's so nice.
So we see all our cousins, and there's loads of us. Yeah. And the Christmas Eve, we would have always gone to my grandmother's house, and now my uncle Peter has taken it over. So so we have those traditions, although I wasn't home last year. So
My very final question, I wanted to ask about Ireland, because what is quite a small country population-wise, there's such a remarkable amount of wonderful art to come out of that place, with so much great telly coming from Ireland. I wonder why you guys think that might be. Is it something that's generated from a young age? Is it encouraged at school? Are there initiatives, or is it cultural? But what do you think it is that allows there to be such an Irish imprint in kind of creativity?
Good question, that.
I don't know. I mean, we make a huge cultural impact for a small country. It's absolutely true. Like, music, film, but it's especially poetry and art and literature, and I feel like we are in terms of like the comedy of it, or our comedy and our tragedy is sort of very sort of inherent in us, isn't it? So I mean, I feel like from my point of view, storytelling wise, it makes absolute sense, the Irishness of it. But I don't know. I guess there wasn't a whole lot to do.
Back then,
we had to
tell stories and sing songs.
Exactly, and it sort of came about through that. You know, we you told stories. You know, to entertain. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time. So best luck with the release of the show. Maybe we'll catch up again for season 2 one day. Who knows?
Yeah. So what does your T-shirt say?
Oh, it's just a line from, it says,
Oh, you can make
it's
it
from
sound like
Succession.
breaking to it.
That is what a line. Imagine how happy they felt writing that. Oh my god.
Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey, you